Guru and Gauranga, we will try to present uh, for the benefit of ourselves and all the devotees some points which could be relevant for all of us. So we'll start with the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Caitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurunda Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौरभक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. And the verse today is is from the Srimad Bhagavatam, and this verse in the purport written by Prabhupada, it says, this verse from Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken by Lord Krishna's queens. Although they were with Krishna, they were still thinking of losing his company. Kurari vilapasi tvam vita nidrana sheshe swapiti jagati ratriam ishvaro gupta bodha vayam iva saki kachit gada nirvidha cheta nalina nayana halasodara lilekshitena. So the translation goes, my dear friend Kurari, it is now night and Lord Krishna is sleeping. You yourself are not asleep or resting, but are lamenting. Should I presume that you, like us, are affected by the smiling, liberal, playful glances of lotus-eyed Krishna? If so, your heart is deeply pierced. Is that why you are showing these signs of sleepless lamentation? So, if we refer back to the Srimad Bhagavatam, the 10th canto, 15th verse, there is a purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that the transcendental madness, Unmada, of the queens filled them with such ecstasy that their own mood reflected in everyone and everything else. Here they point out to the Kurari bird, whom they take to be sorrowing over separation from Lord Krishna, that if the Lord actually had any concern for her or themselves, he would not be sleeping comfortably at that moment. They warn the Kurari not to expect Krishna to hear her lamentation and show some mercy. In case the Kurari might think that Krishna is sleeping with his queens, they deny this by saying that he is Gupta Bodha. His whereabouts are unknown to them. He is out in the world somewhere this night, but they have no idea where to go looking for him. Ah, my bird, they cry. Even though you are a simple creature, your heart has been deeply pierced, just like ours. You must have had some contact then with our Krishna. What keeps you from giving up your hopeless attachment to him? So we see um, the mood of the queens of Dwaraka is that of they are lamenting that they might lose Krishna or they already have lost Krishna. So this verse is in the 10th canto. So in the 10th canto, if you look back at the verses in this chapter, you will find that all the previous verses they describe of how Krishna is playing with the queens of Dwaraka. And it explains how Krishna is very opulent and there is all these queens who are enjoying his company. And in a little bit of the verses, it explains under the drenched Krishna and the queens of Dwarka, they were playing in a very beautiful lake, like a pond. And they were playing just like we play Holi. They were squirting water on each other. And at that time, the translations are very, very esoteric, so to speak. Krishna and his queens, they are laughing, they are playing, they are enjoying. And at that time, all the Gandharvas from the heavenly planets, they were playing beautiful instruments, and all the queens of Dwarka, they were enjoying the company of Krishna. Now, what is very important to understand here is that this scene can be seen in two point of views. One point of view is from the devotee perspective, the pure devotee perspective. And the second point of view is from the materialistic perspective. So if you see in the Krishna, in the Krishna book or Krishna story, we see how the demons, they become envious of Krishna. The main quality that that a demon or a materialist experiences in relation to something pure, something transcendental, is enviousness. So somebody has something, even if you have plenty of it, but when you are experiencing the material quality of envy, Krishna explains three gateways to hell: lust, anger, and greed. So, although there are six, but Krishna explains three. Now, why is the three important? Is because they give rise to the other three. So, we see lust, anger, greed. So, kama, krodha, lobha, moha, mada, matsara. So, lust leads to too much attachment. So, anything around you, anything around which somebody you feel is enjoying, you want to experience that, and that's the basic rule of enviousness. So you want to experience that same enjoyment that the other person is enjoying. So naturally, when somebody looks at Krishna and he is enjoying with his queens in such a sweet manner, immediately even they want to experience. So similarly is the case with all the demons who enter Vrindavan. And also the materialistic people. That's why Srila Prabhupada warns us that before you talk about these beautiful uh, aspects of sweet aspects of Krishna consciousness, where the if you read the next verse, under the drenched clothing of the queens, their thighs and breasts would become visible. The flowers tied to their large braids would scatter as they sprayed water on their consort, and on the plea of trying to take away his syringe, they would embrace him. By his touch, their lusty feelings would increase their faces to beam with smiles. Thus, Lord Krishna's queens shone with resplendent beauty. So, look at the description, look at the sweet description of Krishna. Now, who can understand, who can realize these very beautiful descriptions? So, one who has read the previous cantos, the one who has purified himself, one who has completely purified himself of all material lust, and this doesn't require anything external. This doesn't require anything external. But if one listens to the Srimad Bhagavatam from the start, from the first canto up to the ninth, 10th canto, then this knowledge that is there, is transcendental knowledge. The 10 subject matters of Srimad Bhagavatam, and this particular part, that is the 10th canto, is the Sammam Bonam. It is the Ashraya. It is the complete shelter of Lord Krishna. So the character that one develops by chanting, the character that one develops by studying the Srimad Bhagavatam and cultivating loving devotional service, by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam from a pure devotee. That's why Srila Prabhupada warns that one should not hear Srimad Bhagavatam from unscrupulous persons, because mostly, if you see, Bhagavad Katha today is made very entertaining, because the people, although they are, I met one famous Kathakar, and he said that if you don't make it entertaining, people will lose interest. But Sukadeva Goswami did not do that. Sukadeva Goswami's audience, they were there. They were well equipped. They were well equipped with the knowledge and detachment. So you should have both. You should have jnana and vairagya practice, and even in the if we in the Bhagavad Gita or the Yoga Sutras, he explains the only way to success in spiritual life. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena hitaya cha. So that is by practice and by detachment. So practice and detachment is very, very important, because what happens is, when we gradually get purified, if you have listened to Jayapataka Maharaj, sometime back he was speaking on the anarthas, and it was a very beautiful class, and he said that something very relevant. He said that all the samskaras that we have in our subconscious, the very fact that we are born in this Kali Yuga means we have passed through all the previous yugas, and we have accumulated lots and lots and lots of subconscious karma thought process in our minds. Now what this means to us is that there is a lot of stock of this karma that needs purification, and this purification of this karma comes by practice of yoga. Now what happens is, as we do this, we practice bhakti yoga, we see good health, good mind, and until and unless the anarthas are completely gone, which is in the later stages, these anarthas will continue to disturb us. That's when the mind is disturbed, and that's when you need some entertainment. So these anarthas are trying to regain, and they may not be gross. So gross, we follow the four regulative principles. So you can suffer at a gross level, because this is not enjoyment. This is suffering, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam. Or you could even, these anarthas could affect you at a very subtle level as well. So pride, in temple, somebody could be doing garland service and you are all disturbed because somebody has taken away your garland service, and little things, and we commit offenses, and gradually we lose taste for Krishna consciousness. So therefore, it's very important that a devotee situate himself. My Guru Maharaj always used to say, when somebody wants to take initiation, that means you are taking a vow that you will not break, because people take initiation in a lot of enthusiasm, and then gradually after some time they realize what hit them. So this should not be the case. But Prabhupada's time, that was somehow he wanted people to get inspired, so initiated a lot of people. Many survived, many did not. But we have to be, now that we have taken up this process, we have to realize that it's like climbing a mountain. It's like climbing a mountain. When you climb, it's slippery all the way to the top. Only when you reach the plane on the top does every other danger cease. So the prema, because even in bhava, there can be fall down, and then we have to reach the level of prema. Therefore, it's very important to overcome material lust before we even, because what happens is, if we do not hear it, if we do not understand it in a appropriate manner, in a purified service mood, Srila Prabhupada explains that the growth of a devotee in the path of Krishna consciousness depends on his attitude. So what is the most important aspect of our Krishna consciousness is our attitude. So if you hear the acharyas, if you listen to them, if you hear realized devotees who have purified their heart, their sound, that is a pure medium, the kirtan. So that is why everybody goes to sadhu sangha or big festivals to hear from such elevated souls who practice the chanting the holy name day and night. And by hearing such sweet and wonderful names, and if you see, nobody speaks about deep pastimes all the time, because we realize that relishing these pastimes is an internal aspect of Krishna consciousness. They are only spoken to those who are purified, with whom you can confide. We see there used to be fights, even friendly fight between Gaur Gobind Maharaj, such wonderful devotees, and some great elevated devotees. So they are talking about some deep aspect, but their fight is at a very transcendental level. And they are discussing about how Radha and Krishna, so that's a very subtle level. We have to first purify our gross tendencies, and at the same time we have to be very controlled and moderate. If you see the qualities of Arjuna, he is completely Gudakesha, one who has conquered sleep. So as soon as you come to the mode of goodness, you can see that your need for sleep, your need to eat too much, your need to sleep too much, all these tendencies go away. So one has to be situated in the mode of goodness, at least, then gradually, transcendently elevate oneself to the mode of pure goodness. And in the mode of pure goodness, so that is the quality required to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. The more and more we hear, and Srila Prabhupada says, how do you measure your progress in Krishna consciousness? The way we measure our progress in Krishna consciousness is we have less time and lesser tendencies for eating, sleeping, mating, defending. All these tendencies reduce, automatically reduce. So we can see that from Srila Prabhupada, uh, the Srila Prabhupada, although he was, if you see, he was diabetic, he was this, he was that, he has so many things. But Srila Prabhupada took the risk of coming in that good ship, and on top of it, Srila Prabhupada hardly slept at night. And 1.5 hours of rest, taking so much stress with all these fights between devotees, trying to handle this temple, the preaching movement, and all this stress. On top of it, spending 6 hours a day trying to dictate the Srimad Bhagavatam and giving these books for the next 10,000 years. Only a man who is empowered can do it. And we can see how loving devotion to Krishna one gradually overcomes by hearing, by rendering, surrendering, loving service to Guru. Gaur Gobind Maharaj did not used to eat until late afternoon. He used to eat once a day until and unless he had finished all the translation. He was translating Prabhupada's books to Odia, and he would not eat until it was almost evening. So much withdrawal from the body consciousness. So why is this all important? Before I wanted to explain the words, because we have to understand that the first thing that this is for the liberated soul or for liberation. So there are two kinds of people that they want to hear this Srimad Bhagavatam. One, those who want to be purified. We understand we are full of all these anarthas, and we are fully aware that they come to manifest. We are fully aware in our practice of Krishna consciousness, and we are not aiming for any post, position. We are not aiming for any situation. We are just aiming to conquer our hearts. We are planning that hearing this gradually. My only goal is to serve my Guru by cultivating myself to the level of pure devotion, and trying, and the more you cultivate yourself, you become an example for others just by doing what you're doing. And then you leave it up to Krishna how much he wants to empower you to preach. And purity is the force. So we keep ourselves pure, keep ourselves inspired, and hear from relevant authorities. And the second kind of devotee who is already liberated, like Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami is already liberated, means he is beyond eating, sleeping, is beyond lusty desires, everything is over. And for both, Srimad Bhagavatam is relishable. Because one who is in the process of purification, for him hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam is the process of purification. But for one who is already liberated, it is relishing. So that is what Rupa Goswami says in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. He says, in the first stage, there is a semblance, until and unless this lust and all these things are not completely purified from the heart, there is a semblance, means you get this ecstasy, just like everybody goes to Sadhu Sangha and we hear from such wonderful souls and we are so much in ecstasy, but as soon as we come back, our mind is back to our routine and this and that, and we are trying, the senses are going back and forth, we are trying to master over anger, greed, and all these different things, and enviousness, and all these different things. We are battling, where the battle is continuously on. So, but when this is completely conquered, that's only when you raise, when anartha nivritti, right? So that is one stage where the gross and subtle uh, anarthas are completely removed from the heart. Then nishtha, then ruchi, then taste, and we gradually elevate. But all these stages, the anarthas are still there now, they are diminishing. And and when you reach the higher stages of purification by we we are able to relish these very wonderful uh, pastimes, and these are meant to be relished because they increase our attachment to Krishna. And that's what this verse is about. It is about getting attached to Krishna. And only when we uh, purify ourselves within the heart, and here the bond is hearing the Krishna Nama, hearing the holy name and the Srimad Bhagavatam, they are non-different. And hearing the holy name of Krishna offenselessly, but Bhagavatam is even more merciful, that as you hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a powerful purification that takes place. And and that is why, but even Bhagavatam is misused by, Srila Prabhupada says, by the materialistic speakers who have made a business out of the Srimad Bhagavatam, of just telling the stories without the relevant purification. People want some entertaining story, and this is the most dangerous thing, because Srila Prabhupada says, when you want to relish this, so if you read these very sweet pastimes and how the queens of Dwaraka here in this verse, they are expressing, the queens are saying in this verse, if you read the previous verse, previous two verses, in this way, Krishna would sport with his queens, totally captivating their hearts with his gestures, talks, glances, and smiles, and also with his jokes, playful glances, playful exchanges, and embraces. The queens would become stunned in ecstatic trance. Their minds would be absorbed in Krishna alone. Then, thinking of their lotus-eyed Lord, they would speak as if insane. Please hear these words from me as I relate them. The queen said, "O Kurari bird, you are lamenting. Now it is night, and somewhere in this world the Supreme Lord is asleep in a hidden place. But you are wide awake, O friend, unable to fall asleep. Is it that, like us, you have had your heart pierced to the core by the eyed Lord's munificent, playful, smiling glances?" And in that next verse it says, "Poor Chakravaki, even after closing your eyes, you continue to cry pitifully through the night for your unseen mate. Or is it that, like us, you have become the servant of Achyuta and hanker to wear in your braided hair the garland he has blessed with the touch of his feet?" So in this way, you can see the queens of Dwaraka are experiencing and expressing such deep emotions. Their minds are completely overwhelmed with these feelings. So their minds are completely overwhelmed with these feelings. So there are two things which we have to understand, is that the queens of Dwaraka had the license to go mad. They were completely situated as queens, and they were in a situation where they were completely mad after Krishna, and all they were doing is experiencing their love And you can see that in all the palace, everything, the setup was so wonderful that that within the 50-mile radius of Dwaraka, there were 50 palaces, and literally there were no problems with eating, sleeping, mating. All they had to do was just love Krishna. But there is a difference between how we see the these pastimes are experienced by the queens of Dwaraka, and we can see how Srila Prabhupada experiences them. What is the difference? So, one of the things about Rupa Goswami, why he is an acharya, is that he never um, expressed the feelings. Uh, he never experienced he never expressed the feelings externally. And that's why Srila Prabhupada is an acharya. In fact, all our acharyas in the line, they hardly, they, to be an example for others, they did not express these feelings explicitly, so to speak. One of the difference between a true acharya and a sahajiya means very easily they are only focused on feelings. When you chant, you should cry, you should try to cry, fake it till you make it, you cry, you try to make it, all these things. Once I heard this from one senior Maharaj, and he said that when all the devotees were jumping, dancing, experiencing so much ecstasy at that time, Srila Rupa Goswami was also in that sabha where everyone is enjoying such wonderful leela and everybody is in dancing in ecstasy. But Rupa Goswami was standing in complete, as though everyone was expressing their happiness, but he was standing in one corner. He was not really just dancing or jumping or expressing, like foaming in the mouth, all different things. So when one devotee checked his breathing, literally he was breathing like fire. It was hot. So he was experiencing all these pastimes internally. He was experiencing that happiness internally. He was experiencing that sweetness internally. Why is this so important? Because Srila Prabhupada also, although internally was experiencing such deep, sweet happiness, but externally he was very, very practical. He was very, very focused on um, translating these books. He was very, very focused on practical Krishna consciousness, because he knew that this one lifetime might not be enough for the devotees to purify their hearts and minds. So we have to be very disciplined, because if we slip, if we do not understand, then gradually what happens is, if we do not take the gravity, if we do not understand the gravity, if we do not understand the how material nature, how our senses, when even one of these subtle qualities of anger or lust could completely sweep us away from the actual Krishna consciousness. So externally, we have to be very, very disciplined. If you see Srila Prabhupada, he did not just, okay, now let's relish pastimes. No. Srila Prabhupada he knew, he could understand his disciples, he could understand that this is Kali Yuga. All the devotees, he engaged them. All the devotees were internally, you could relish. I heard so many devotees speak such wonderful things, but they relish them within. Externally, everyone is very busy trying to serve. So Dinabandhu Prabhu explains ecstasy. What is ecstasy? Ecstasy means Srila Prabhupada sitting on that Jaladuta ship all alone, with complete faith in Krishna. That is ecstasy, where he is taking all the risk with no money. He's going to a foreign land and he lands in a pier in Boston, and he is all alone. But he says his guru is with him, completely controlled in all his senses, completely controlled in his mind, completely focused within in that mission. So, a devotee who achieves that level of purification, who is completely focused within, who is in the Brahma Bhuta stage, although we can relish this now, it is so beautiful to even hear how the queens of, we should hear actually by hearing over and over again. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, even before he started preaching, he read the Srimad Bhagavatam 108 times. He read the Caitanya Caritamrita 108 times, not just read. He read the commentaries of all the acharyas, all the relevant information, and at the same time, while he was practicing, he used to eat just once a day, a little bit, completely focused on hearing, chanting, completely focused on cultivating the mode of goodness, and completely and gradually transcend and reach the Brahma Bhuta stage. So we should spend. Yesterday, I was doing some astrology for a marriage couple, and we were discussing. My Guru Maharaj was having two disciples, and they were trying to match the horoscopes and all different things. So, as I was discussing with him, we discussed a very important point, and I was saying that if the grahasthas read at least an hour of Bhagavatam every day, very sincerely, every day, very sincerely, if we hear and we practice and we focus and we continue to increase that, that's the, if you see Srila Sanatana Goswami, he used to have sabhas of hundreds of brahmanas who used to only discuss Srimad Bhagavatam. That's all he did. Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami. If such acharyas spend so much time in hearing and chanting the verses and the glories of Srimad Bhagavatam, and they have left behind, Srila Prabhupada has made it so easily available and made it so easy with the beautiful English translation. So the devotees, the more and more we hear this, with the more and more when we purify ourselves, then we will realize the mood with which and the beautiful pastimes that we see, they will enter our hearts. And at one point, my Guru Maharaj used to say that you can enter into those pastimes. You can actually experience the feelings of all the queens of Dwaraka. They, like in this verse, if you see how they are saying, so when you are angry, for example, whatever you see around you, you want to throw because you're angry. Your mind is overwhelmed with that particular feeling. So similarly here, the queens, their minds, they are completely overwhelmed with the feeling of lamentation. So this is transcendental lamentation. So Arjuna's lamentation in the beginning was material lamentation, so which is problematic. But the queens, they are experiencing a lamentation, and they are saying, and they are seeing that same. They are speaking to themselves, but they are using this Chakravaki and Kurari bird as a mirror to speak to themselves about their feelings about Krishna, because you have such strong feelings, you want to experience it. You have such strong feelings, such loving feelings for Krishna, and the queens are experiencing ecstatic trance. So there is, whenever we experiencing something nice, we become very attached to it. We become very, very attached. And that's what we want to become. We want to become very, very attached to Krishna. So these, as in more and more we experience these beautiful feelings, these sweet feelings in Krishna consciousness, our attachment to Krishna increases. So that is why Srila Prabhupada wrote the Krishna book, so that we get attached to these sweet, wonderful stories of these wonderful pastimes of Krishna, expressed in such a beautiful story format. And here it is said that, "Oh Kurari bird, you are lamenting." So actually the queens are lamenting, but they are looking at the Kurari bird and they are saying, "You are lamenting." And they are, since there is also a saying, right? Atmaman manyate jagat. So what you see within you, you see everywhere else. So they are saying that this bird, they are seeing through their eyes, and they are saying that this bird is lamenting. Now it is night, and night is not a worry for the bird, it's for the queens, because they want to spend more and more time with Krishna. And somewhere in this world, the Supreme Lord is asleep in a hidden place. But you are wide awake, O friend, unable to fall asleep. So, because the bird is not able to sleep, the bird is awake there, so the queens are experiencing their own feelings because they are not able to sleep. And they are experiencing this feeling because of a fear of loss or separation from Krishna. Is it that like us? So you can see here, is it that like us you have had your heart pierced to the core by the lotus-eyed Lord's munificent, playful, smiling glances? So we can see that they are experiencing such sweet separation, feelings of sorrow, of separation. But this is not like a material sorrow or material lamentation where one is experiencing, because the thought of Krishna is not different from Krishna. So at the same time, although they are separated, they are feeling Krishna right within them. So that is transcendental. So transcendental means, although Krishna is not there, yet Krishna is there. They can experience Krishna right there. They are seeing, but they are not physically seeing him as they see as the husband, but in the core of their hearts, just thinking of Krishna. Krishna is captured. Krishna is right in their heart. Yet he is in a hidden form in their heart. And that is why Krishna is, and here in the purport, it's even more beautiful. So the queens are lamenting that Krishna is not present with them, and the bird, they are thinking, the bird might be thinking, they are thinking that the bird might be thinking that Krishna is with the queens. And therefore, they are clearing this doubt from the mind of the bird, and they are saying it to themselves. He is not right now with us. He is not sleeping with us. He is Gupta Bodha. He is sleeping somewhere else. He is not sleeping with us today. He is sleeping somewhere else. And therefore, I am sure you are feeling the same lamentation that we are feeling, because your heart is pierced, our heart is pierced. I am sure your heart is also pierced by the lotus-eyed Lord's munificent, playful, smiling glances. So they are experiencing this deep separation from Krishna, because Krishna has gone somewhere else. And they want to experience this, they want to express these sweet, beautiful feelings of the separation from Krishna. And they find this bird as a suitable medium to express and experience their feelings. So many a times you want to open up your heart, but to who? But to somebody with whom you can experience without reservation. So here, that's why devotee relishes the company of another devotee, because we can open up our heart and experience those deep feelings. So that's why we can see one of the things Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj said, that that even within ISKCON, all the Maharajas, they have their own friend circle. They preach in a certain area, or they are just friends from certain time, and they share. So as you grow in bhakti and as you relish these beautiful pastimes, as you spread the mission, and then you cultivate such sweet friendships and relationships with such wonderful devotees, and then you are able to express and experience these wonderful feelings. So similarly, the queens are able to experience and experience these feelings with this bird, because that bird is also a pure devotee and he can understand. So somebody with whom they can express, experience, and feel a higher sense of sweetness, and their feelings might get a little bit of, oh, we are not the only one suffering, you are suffering too. And in the end, they say, what keeps you from giving up your hopeless attachment to him? So literally they want to give up Krishna, but the point is, even giving up the thought of Krishna is again thinking of Krishna. So ultimately, the envious people like Kamsa, they are also thinking of Krishna. They are trying to give up their attachment to Krishna. They are trying to give up their fear of Krishna, but they are continuously thinking of Krishna. But Prabhupada says that is not favorable devotional service. Thinking of Krishna is devotional service. This is not favorable devotional service. But here the queens of Dwaraka and the other devotees of the Lord, they are experiencing and expressing how the one can do favorable devotional service. So although they are trying to forget Krishna, but their feelings are transcendental. They feel the Krishna is in a very deep personal relationship with them as the husband and wife. So now the relationship is very personal. So at this point, they are feeling that the husband is not doing enough. They are not getting enough of Krishna, which is always the case. And Krishna tries to increase this sweetness by being separate. And that's what is happening here. And, and they are trying to be separate from Krishna, but even they cannot even forget. They are continuously remembering him and trying to think how I can forget. And they are trying to experience it with this bird. So in this way, the devotee sees Krishna everywhere, and he tries to express, find friends, and cultivate deeper levels of transcendental loving service to Krishna. And in this way, like Rupa Goswami says, you practically get a new body when you become a devotee, pure devotee. Your body and mind, they 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 are purified to such an extent that literally all your previous karma, all your previous impressions, they're all gone. Then you have a new body. You belong 100% to Krishna, and within this self same body, you can experience things, transcendental relationships, and loving ecstasies that you weren't able to experience before. So this is the power of pure devotion, and this is experience in the Srimad Bhagavatam in the third canto, where it says that the body. The mind and the body are rendered completely useless in the sense, it is as though their material functions are gone. You have completely mastered or controlled them, and you can use them in the service of Krishna completely. And so this devotional service, this process is pure, perfect. And if we hear and study Bhagavatam systematically, continuously, every day, and at one point we will be able to, Srila Prabhupada says, if you continuously do it, at one point it becomes automatic. And that's what we should strive to do. And then these feelings will become automatic. Hare Krishna. I will stop here. So any questions or comments are welcome.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much. It was actually a very, very good class. And was unraveling all the secrets of the queens of Dwaraka. Very, very beautiful, Prabhu, especially about how they speak with the bird. saying that they are saying the same feelings that they have in the bird. So, and hence they are addressing the bird like that. The way you explain that. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Thank you so much for the very, very good. I enjoyed it. Very good. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for such a wonderful explanation. It was simple and easy to understand. Because these verses are hard, but you make it very easy to understand. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.